As with all other ancient documents, none of the original New Testament autographs have survived to the present day. At least we have not yet discovered them. But this is not surprising, for as F. Bruce explained, it cannot be otherwise if they were written on papyrus, the most common writing material during the first century, since it is only in exceptional conditions that papyrus survives for any length of time. The original autographs were not preserved like a museum document, but were meant to be used. Since they were often handled, read, and no doubt suffered wear and tear while being transported, we shouldn't be surprised they no longer exist. However, the first copyists certainly had direct access to the original apostolic autographs, as well as perhaps the apostles themselves, and were surely as devoted as past Old Testament Jewish scribes, so we have no reason to doubt they accurately transmitted God's New Testament to the point of death. We really do have excellent reasons to believe our current New Testament text is virtually identical to the original, due partly to strong evidence the New Testament was copied much sooner after the actual events described than any other ancient writing. For example, we possess a nearly entire copy of the New Testament through the Chester Beatty Papyri, a collection including 2 large fragments of Matthew, 6 of Mark, 7 of Luke, 2 of John, and 13 of Acts, as well as large portions of Paul's epistles, Hebrews, and Revelation, which are dated only 50 to 150 years after completion of the original New Testament autograph. Additionally, the Bodmer Papyri includes about 2/3 of John, dated near 200 AD, and separate large portions of Luke and John from 225 AD. Combination of the Chester Beatty and Bodmer Papyri gives complete copies of Luke, John, Romans, 1st and 2nd Corinthians, Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, Hebrews, 1st and 2nd Thessalonians, as well as significant portions of Matthew, Mark, Acts, and Revelation, all of which were produced prior to 225 AD. Other highly significant and relatively early manuscripts include the Codex Vaticanus B, which is a nearly complete copy of the New Testament, as well as the Codex Sinaiticus, which contains the entire New Testament and most of the Old Testament in Greek. Both of these are dated approximately 350 AD. Further, we have concrete proof copying began even earlier through discovery of the John Rylands New Testament fragment. This fragment from the Gospel of John, chapter 18, is dated within just 25 years after completion of the original New Testament near the end of the 1st century AD, which is an exceptionally short time gap. A much debated discovery made by Spanish paleographer Jose O'Callaghan on March 18, 1972, may push the date of earliest copying back even further. Using the established methods of papyrology and paleography, he identified 9 New Testament fragments among the Dead Sea Scrolls. These fragments and their approximate writing dates are Mark 4:28, 6:48, 6:52-53, and 12:17 from 50 AD, Acts 27:38 from 60 AD, as well as Romans 55:11-12, 1 Timothy 3:16, James 1:23-24, and 2 Peter 1:15 from 70 AD. If these fragments and their dates are eventually proven genuine and accurate, then we have tremendous evidence copying began almost instantly and unshakable proof the New Testament was published during the 1st century while favorable and non-favorable eyewitnesses were still alive to legitimately refute the bold claims within these writings. While the O'Callaghan discovery is still debatable, there is no doubt the time gap between the original autographs and first copies has been effectively minimized through the existence of literally thousands of quotations from early church fathers who recorded nearly all of the New Testament in their writings dated between 97 to 180 AD. So even if the copied manuscripts did not exist, we could still correctly reconstruct virtually the entire New Testament from these relatively early sources alone. It is highly significant that the earliest of these writers, including 1st century Christians such as Polycarp, Papias, Ignatius, and Clement of Rome, had personal contact with the apostolic eyewitnesses of Christ and undoubtedly had access to the original autographs and manuscript copies from which their quotations were retrieved and verified. Based upon the evidence, an honest person must conclude the New Testament is a 1st century document which was copied soon after its completion. The case for superior textual accuracy of our modern New Testament is bolstered even more when we consider the comparative state of all other ancient documents. These, on average, exist only through incomplete fragments which are dated at an average of 1,000 plus years after the original. The original was, in some cases, created hundreds of years after the alleged event by those who had no direct knowledge of what supposedly happened. One scholar has truly said, "No other book from the ancient world has as small a time gap between original composition and earliest manuscript copies as the New Testament." This conclusion was mirrored by Sir Frederick Kenyon when he stated, "In no other case is the interval of time between the composition of the book and the date of the earliest extant manuscripts so short as that of the New Testament. The minuscule time gap between events described in their original recording and also between their original recording and copying left no room for the resurrection facts or New Testament text to become distorted. There is simply not enough time for a legendary lie to arise, especially in the presence of enemy eyewitnesses who knew the truth and would have certainly attempted to disprove the New Testament claims if they weren't accurate." In contrast, the large time gap between supposed events and first known recording of other ancient writings and religious books left plenty of time for a legendary lie to arise without the presence of living eyewitnesses. For these and other compelling reasons, we may confidently declare the New Testament is more historically and textually reliable than any other writing from antiquity.